because of the fact that as humans, we never are perfect. You could never have a perfect product, ever. You can never have a perfect book. You can write a book today and it's perfect. You can spend $100,000 getting it edited. It could be perfect today. But guaranteed in 10 years from now when you read it, you're going to say, boy, I should have added that in and I should have taken that out. Because nothing's ever perfect, ever. So the challenge is that when we're trying to do our projects and our goal is perfection, we can never finish the project. But it goes even deeper. Because our goal is perfection, we can never even finish any step because our goal is perfection. And perfection is impossible. It is impossible. Now, I'm going to give you a statistic that may be difficult to embrace. Will you suspend your judgment and just trust me? 90% of each one of the steps that you're going to do can be done in about 10% of the time. And so what that means is that if a particular step should take 10 weeks, 90% of that step can be done in 1 week. Now let's say that your big project has 10 steps that should take 10 weeks. That's 100 weeks, that's 2 years. 2 years, and in 2 years, the perfect step that you worked on first will no longer be perfect 2 years from now. Just by nature of the fact that 2 years pass, 10% of step one that you did so perfectly now for the next 10 weeks will fall apart by the end of the 2 years, so that in 2 years, the perfect step that you did in the next 10 weeks will be 10% unperfect in 2 years. Are you seeing this? Which means that if you take 10 weeks right now to make your product perfect, in 2 years, 10% of it will break apart and no longer be perfect. And in 2 years, your product will only be 90% anyway. So what if you were to say, let's just take 1 week and make it the 90% that it'll be anyway in 2 years, and just do it in 1 week. And you could do each one of the 10 steps in 10 weeks. How would it feel to have every part of whatever it is that you're doing, your sales funnel, every part is 90%? Emails are not perfect. You can always go back and fix them. The sales pages are not perfect. You can always go back and fix them. Your book's not perfect. You can always go back and fix it. Obviously, once it's printed, it's printed. But that's what you have an editor for. Make it 90%, let the editor do the rest. How would it feel to take the book that you want to write, the legacy that you want to build, the product that you want to build, whatever it is, how would it feel instead of taking the next 2 years, you could do it in the next 10 weeks? How would that feel? Would that feel good? Would that be exciting? I believe that it would be. I personally believe that it would be. Now, let's say it's going to take you 10 weeks to finish whatever it is. Now, for some of you, you've got a huge project and it take you the full 10 weeks. Now, I want you to imagine something else. Odds are 8 of those 10 steps, once again, I need you to suspend your imagination here. 8 of those 10 steps could probably be done in a couple of days apiece. 8 of those 10 steps could probably be done in a couple of days apiece. So, for example, if you're creating a product with a product funnel, what are the parts? One's the product, has 10 hours of training on it, right? That's one product. That's the product. It needs a sales letter. It needs an email campaign. Maybe it needs a squeeze page. That's about 6 parts. Let's say each one of those parts takes a week, right? So you could record 10 hours of training in 1 week, right? When you have a 40-hour work week, you could take 10 of those and record. So product's done 1 week. Sales letter. You could take all week to write it, or, you know what? That's one of those things that could probably be done in 2 days if you had to. Write the email campaign. Well, you could take a whole week to do that, or you could do it in a day. Create the squeeze page. You could take a whole week to do it, or you could do it in a day. I hope you're having light bulbs go off. I hope you're just having light bulbs go left and right and left and right. What if you were to separate one day? If you have a full-time job, ask your boss, can I have a one-day personal day? If you have children and you're married, ask your husband or wife, can you take care of the kids for one day? Can you take a personal day so I can have a personal day? If you can't do that, you call the babysitter and say, can you buy me a personal day? My birthday's coming up. Don't buy me a present. Can you watch the kids for one day? Whatever, maybe you take care of your aging parents. Find somebody to take care of them for one day. What could you do in one day if you really dug deep? Could you write a sales letter in a couple hours? It wouldn't be perfect, but it would be there. You say, but Sean, the grammar might not be right. Fine. Pay some English student $20 to fix it for you. You say, Sean, but all the flow's not right. Great. Hire a copywriting coach for 1 hour to fix it for you. Seriously. Now, some of you might say, well, I don't want to invest $500 for 1 hour for somebody to fix my sales letter for me when I could take the next 2 years and do it for myself. Whoa, wait a second. 2 years? How much is 2 years of your life worth? I mean, think about it. There are things that you can buy in your business for $500 or $1,000 that will save you 2 years of your life. Remember, we talked about this idea that you only have 2 or 3 or 4 decades of your life left, and 2 years is a fifth of a decade. Do you want to spend the next 2 years trying to figure something out that you could pay somebody $1,000 to do? And some of you might be saying, well, I don't have $1,000. Okay, so let me ask you this. What could you do in your neighborhood for $25 that you could do 40 times and have $1,000? Right? Just you do it 40 times. What could you do 40 times? Could you bake cookies for the neighborhood for $25 and just do it 40 times? Now, obviously, most of you don't have this situation. Most of you have the ability to say, okay, you know what, Sean, you're right. Rather than spend the next 2 years on this, we're just going to take a grand out of the budget and get it paid for. But to those of you that tell me, look, I just don't have the money. What if you could save 2 years of your life by finding a way to come up with the money? By finding something you could do in your neighborhood for $1,000, $25 at a time, 40 times 25, whatever it takes to get this thing done fast. You write the sales letter. You create the squeeze page. You write the emails. You do it all in one day. Will you be pooped? Yes. Will you not want to talk to anybody at night? Yes. Will you be done? Yes. But who cares? What if in one more day you were to record 5 hours of training all in one day, and in one more day you recorded 5 more hours of training? What if in the next 3 days, or 1 day a week for the next 3 weeks, you could completely create this product that in the natural will take you 2 years to do because it's taken you 2 years already and you're only 20% in, right? I don't know what your project is. I'm going to do this for a book now. You've been working on your book for 2 years. You've written the outline, and every month you redo the outline because you have new ideas. You can keep doing that for the next decade if you want. Or you've written 2 chapters in your book, right? You've written 2 chapters in your book. You need 8 more. Now, let's just say that a chapter has 6,000 words. If you had to, could you write 6,000 words today or tomorrow or Monday? Could you write a chapter in a day? You say, well, Sean, I can't take a day off. Great. Could you stay up late for 2 nights a week and just write for 2 hours? Could you find a way to write a chapter a week for the next 8 weeks and have the book done? It's taken you 2 years. Now you just say, I'm going to do whatever it takes, and in 8 weeks it's going to be done. Or in 8 days it's going to be done. Now obviously, I'm giving you a generic solution. You have to accommodate this to your challenge. You have to accommodate this to your challenge. But can you see how by making some subtle shifts in your mentality that you can supercharge getting your big project done and that you can do it very, very fast? Many of you have a project you've worked on for 2 to 3 years that could be done in the next week or 2. Many of you have a project that in the natural will take 2 more years to finish, but could be done in the next week or 2 if you just say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it happen, and I'm going to make it happen quickly. Many of you could do that. I want to challenge you. I just want to challenge you. I want to ask you, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to save 2 years out of the rest of your life by buckling down and finding a way to do something in a week or 2 that in the natural will take 2 years? Now, some of you might say, well, Sean, that's impossible. It can't be done. The truth of the matter is, what I'm sharing with you is one of the ways that I'm able to be as productive as I am. What I'm sharing with you is why some people can write a book every single year, and some people never write a book in their lifetime. What I'm sharing with you now is why some people are able to have 1,000 times more results in their life than some other people. Obviously, there's other pieces. I mean, there's purpose, and there's work ethic, and there's, obviously the easiest way to write a book is to write 1 page a day for 200 days. I mean, that's the easiest way to write it, but the challenge is that most people don't have the discipline to do that. Most people don't have the discipline to do that. That's the easiest way to write a book. 1 page a day for 200 days. I mean, literally, just every day you wake up and at 6 o'clock in the morning, from 6 until 6:30, you write 1 page, and at the end of 200 days, it's done. I mean, that's the easiest way to write a book. I've never written a book that way. Why? Because I don't have that discipline. It's much easier for me to work in bursts. When I was in high school and when I was in college, the easiest way to study would be 1 hour a day. Did I do that? No. I'd do these bursts. 24 hours before the final exam, I'd scurry and try to figure out what was supposed to be on the exam so I could just cram it all in 24 hours. You were the same way, probably. As humans, that's how we operate. We tend to work in bursts. Now, obviously, the best way to get anything done is a little bit at a time. But if that method has not worked for you for the past 50 years, if you know that you know that you know that just as a normal human, you don't do well saying, okay, I'm going to exercise 20 minutes a day every day. If you know that as a human, you don't do well saying, okay, I'm going to write for 20 minutes every day. If you know that, there's no shame in saying, okay, I understand how my body works. I understand how my mind works. Let's just work with the way my mind works. Get it done. Just get it done. And so that's my challenge to you. What can you do in the next day or week or maybe 2 weeks that will shave 2 years off of your entire life, that will buy you an extra 2 years in your life because you've been able to do it quickly rather than taking the next 2 years to do it? And I challenge you to make that happen.